today's topic is going to be about Cytomel, also known as T3, extremely popular pre-contest drug that a lot of competitors use to get in contest shape. Myself personally, I never was a fan of it. I don't like to incorporate it. I did 1 year, 2011, and it wasn't even my best look. I have a naturally high metabolic rate. I'm naturally a skinny guy, so my thyroid, never wanted to stimulate that too much because I never wanted to go catabolic during my preps. However, I know a lot of people use this product and they think it's a staple, and probably a lot of people use it and they don't need to. Some certain scenarios where people are just endomorphic, super stubborn, huskier metabolisms, they might need something like this. Like, they literally will need this to get into contest peeled conditioning. Those are the guys with the thicker wrists, the thicker skin, where they aren't very vascular. They're just kind of a bigger bone person, and they're just naturally smooth. And so they're gonna have a very stubborn body. T3 might work very well for them. Let's go over some pros and cons of T3 or heightened thyroid. Now, if you're hypothyroid and you have a naturally lower thyroid, that's not good. Obviously, your metabolism sucks, and also it lowers protein synthesis. So your rate of how you metabolize and process aminos and nutrients for muscle growth is lowered. So low thyroid is not good, obviously. Hyperthyroidism, as in usage of exogenous Cytomel to bodybuilder levels, which is anywhere from 50 micrograms. Some people use 100. Some people I've heard even more. Now, what that'll do is a few things. Yeah, it'll increase protein turnover. So protein synthesis does get heightened, but so does protein degradation. Okay, so the degraded amount of muscle opposed to protein accrual is in favor of muscle loss. This is in an unenhanced environment. So if you aren't using anabolics, that is a terrible thing to do. You don't want hyperthyroidism. You don't want to use Cytomel without anabolic assistance, of course, because the degradation will be greater than the synthesis. Another thing is, while hyperthyroidism does cause net protein loss in muscle, it has no effect in cardiac or heart muscle. So hyperthyroidism doesn't make you lose heart muscle. If anything, it actually causes cardiomyopathy and can cause your heart to grow, which is not good. It'll cause hypertrophy of the heart from your heart working so hard, from beating perhaps irregularly or just fast, and your heart rate's chronically elevated. Your heart is under stress, so it could cause cardiomyopathy, which is not good. And of course, when people combine T3 with clenbuterol, which is very common, and it's a great synergy between the two, clenbuterol will compound the effect of potential cardiac hypertrophy even more, which is just a huge concern because it can lead to very bad problems down the line. Another thing is, while levels of T3, whenever they're elevated, they cause sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar net protein loss. And that's going to be glycogen volume from the sarcoplasm, and it's going to be muscle tissue or amino acids from the myofibrillars. So that's not a good thing. You go flat. Whenever you lose volume in your sarcoplasma, you're losing key minerals, microminerals, electrolyte storage, you're losing water, glycogen, you're burning everything at a max capacity. Another thing is, when proteins are turned over, this increases hepatic gluconeogenesis. So you're basically converting your muscles are converting amino acids into the liver, and then you're converting from the liver into glucose, and you're burning that off as energy. So you're burning your muscle as fuel. However, like I said, if you're anabolically enhanced, you can combat a lot of this stuff and make T3 work really well for you. The only problem is, in my experience, is that you got to get T3 that is prescription and tabs and 100% accurately dosed, because a lot of these research companies, some of them are great and spot on, no question about it, but if they miscalculate that T3 dose by a decimal or whatever they're doing, you could literally screw up your thyroid, I'm sure, irreparable damage, and also lose a ton of muscle. I'm sure people have seen competitors from 12 weeks out to the day of the show, and you go, what happened? And a lot of times they could have gotten a really bad or overdosed T3 product, and they completely went to crap. It looks like they went from a bodybuilder to like a men's, I don't want to say men's physique to just men's physique, but it looks like they go from one end of the spectrum to the other, and that could be from misdosed T3, and that's not even their control. Or they had ill advice, and the coach had them take 200 micrograms a day or something like that. So you got to be very careful whenever you use it, and there's always an unpredictable chance that it's not going to discriminate between what tissue that it burns. I also noticed that people use things like T3, Clen, DMP, or what have you, almost as a crutch. So just because it heightens your metabolism and your thermogenic response by 10, 15, 30%, doesn't mean that you should be more liberal with your eating and, oh, I'm gonna have higher carbs, or I'm gonna have a cheat meal, or if I cheat it doesn't matter because I'm staying lean on T3. I've seen that happen. I've seen people get a little lazy with that, and it's still, even though they have a heightened T3 level and they're on all this exogenous hormones and anabolic assistance, they still don't come into the show correct and in shape. Once you got that little thing in your head that's kind of altered, where you're depending on exogenous thyroid and all these cute little enhancements to make your prep easier, you tend to kind of repeat that and be habitual and slip up and cheat more often than you should, and it's a cumulative effect, and you won't show up on stage the way you should. No matter, you need to maximize these compounds, whether it's T3 or any of these thermogenics or anabolics, and not cheat, and just be perfect with the diet and really reap their benefits, and you're going to show up amazing on stage. That is my take on T3. It's just my opinion. People might not like this or whatever, but this is just coming from my personal experience and just what I know about what different levels of thyroid can do. Another thing is, whenever you want to test your thyroid, I always recommend, you need to see where your thyroid is at, and especially for females, seems like they have more hormonal issues than us men. Don't only test thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH. Don't only test that, because that's inaccurate. You need to have a more fuller spectrum. So you're going to want to test T4 levels, TSH, free T3, free T4, and reverse T3. You're going to want to test all 5 of those. You want to test free T3, free T4, because you don't want, you could have bound T3, T4 that's not getting, it's not getting cleaved from the albumin or the protein that it's attached to, and you're having inactive, unusable thyroid. And then for people that might have thyroid problems like antibody diseases or autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's, you're going to want to have a thyroid antibody test. One of them is thyroid peroxidase, I believe, and the other one is thyroglobulin antibody test. So you're going to want to do those two to see if you have an underlying condition and why you're not getting results. That is my spiel on T3 and my personal opinion on it. Be careful when you use it. If you're an ectomorph, high-ran metabolism person, you probably don't need it, guys. Just diet hard, save your muscle. If you're a husky endomorph, you probably need all the help you can get. Don't cheat on it, but use it efficiently, make the most of it.